Yes, here we go. We had Mark Redding's Will Schofield on Monday. Well, now it's the end of the week, and Bradley Hogg joins us here on the Shelter SportCast, not the Shelter FootyCast. We're getting right into cricket this part of the year. How are you, Hoggy?
I'm going well, Will, and you should keep it the FootyCast because there's a few kicks up the backsides that we can talk about this week too.
Oh, I like that, Hoggy. Very good. That is the Southern River Band. You can hear there. They've got their national tour starting today. That's right. They start in Melbourne. They'll be coming back here to Western Australia December 2 and 3. Busselton December 2. The North Perth Charles Hotel December 3. So we'll be there. Hoggy's coming. He has confirmed he's coming with us. So if you want to come down and see Brad Hogg, you'll see us down at Shelter on December 2. Southern River Band tickets available. shelterbrewing.com.au. Find us on Instagram, which is Shelter FootyCast on Instagram, or you can send us an email, footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au. We'd love to hear your questions. I believe, Dan, while I'm absolutely talking shit here, we did have an email that came through, and you're going to find it for me. Don't know how, but you're going to get it into this. Hoggy, how are you, mate?
I'm going very well, mate. It's been a great week, and sometimes a little bit frustrating. You know, things get a little bit clogged up, but and don't work, and yeah, you just got to get around that and move on.
You're in business mode now, Hoggy. Cricket season has started, and we're well and truly into the World Cup. The final's been confirmed. It's going to be Pakistan v England. We're going to break down both the semi-finals and have a bit of a preview for the World Cup final, which is on Sunday. Is that right?
Yeah, it's on Sunday. How good is it? Because if you follow Twitter and you follow cricket, when it's India versus Pakistan, India lost a game here at Perth Stadium against South Africa, I think it was. And you could see on Twitter they had videos of Indian fans crying because they lost to South Africa. But then they turn around and someone comes up, we've lost to South Africa, but we've just kicked Pakistan out of the World Cup. And all of a sudden, all these Indian fans start dancing because Pakistan are out of the World Cup, supposedly. But then you've got the Netherlands knocking off South Africa, getting Pakistan over.
Absolutely. So the Netherlands get it done because Pakistan lost to Zimbabwe earlier on, and people were like, Pakistan's no chance. Now they find themselves in the World Cup. Before we get into the World Cup, we will break that down for most of this show. I just thought we'd just touch on a couple of other sporting moments around at the moment. AFL, very quiet across the AFL landscape, except Anthony McDonald-Tipungwuti, one of my favourites. He's a small forward at Essendon, retires, done, dusted. John Farnham it's the last time. He's bloody back. He's sat down with the new coach in Brad Scott. He's convinced him somehow that he wants him back, and he's signed back with Essendon. Has it happened? I reckon I remember a Bradley Hogg retiring and then coming back. Didn't that happen with you?
Yeah, well, you know, everyone retires for different reasons. I retire for personal reasons, trying to save a marriage. Right. Probably shouldn't have done it because I was in the test team, and there was a tour to England in the Ashes. Never played an Ashes test match. And always had that dream of going over to England to play in it. So I had to make that decision. So it was either the kids or cricket. So I gave up at the age of 38 and got divorced not too long after.
So it didn't
work out.
Sorry, I don't know if it's funny or not. It didn't work.
Yeah, and then met a new lady 3 years later or a couple of years later, and she said, what about go back and play a bit of cricket? You know, that's what you love.
Really?
So I went back and played a couple of games of grade cricket, and Mickey Arthur rang me up and said, do you want to play a little bit of Big Bash next year? And I said, Mickey, yeah, I do. Can I play a bit of first-class cricket as well? Because I think I'm bowling better than what I was beforehand, and I think I've learn what it takes to play that longer format of the game. And he said, no, mate, you're too old. Just the Big Bash we need you for because there's 8 teams and we're going to run out of players. So we need to fill the list.
No, mate.
No, mate. No,
so
mate.
Because when you came back, like you said, you were playing some of the best. You were bowling some of the best bowling you've ever bowled, right?
Yeah, but I think I found I found myself as well.
Was it mindset? Sort of?
Yeah, mindset. So you just try and work on yourself throughout your life. You try and improve yourself. But I was a bit of an overthinker, overworker, and sometimes I been diagnosed with ADHD later on in my life. I started to work out why I had trouble with some captains and not so much with other captains. So there's one captain there where my average for the ball is 50, and everyone else it's under 30.
Right.
So it's only about that miscommunication. And I'm not going to mention any names because he's a legend of a player, legend of a coach. But he'll be out first slip and going, Hoggy, just bowl leg spinners. And I'll be out the top of mark, just going, right, I've got all this balls to my armory. I've got to bowl this, I've got to bowl this. But then I'm fighting with myself to do what he's asking me to do. And by the time I walk off, I am mentally drained and I just sleep like a baby at night because I'm fighting myself to try and do what the captain's doing when I want to do something different.
So when that 2020 game comes about and you start getting that chance, I'd assume the shorter form supports those variable balls, right? You need to change it up all the time.
Oh,
so
definitely.
It was perfect for you.
Yeah, well, as Shane Warne would say, when you're playing Test cricket and you've got batsmen around the bat, that's when you just keep it nice and simple and you just try and put as many leg spinners on a good length as possible.
Right,
yeah, consistent. But when you got the field out, that's when you can, and you've got a little bit more defensive fields. That's when you can be more aggressive with all your variations. But going back to the Essendon saga, the player coming back, he probably didn't like the environment that had been created over the last couple of years. He's been worn out. He's not enjoying his football, and that happens with cricket as well. So you need to get away from the game, and then someone that you have a little bit more respect for. It's nothing against the previous coach because he's tried to do the best he possibly can, and he was only new. So he might come back as a coach down the track with more experience. But it's just having that different respect for another man that's out the helm that you actually get on with, and he knows your personality a lot better, which enables to get the best out of you.
Yeah, it's a bloody good perspective. I really like that, Hoggy. So Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody, he will return. He's a star. So like you said, for whatever reason, he probably steps away and thinks, actually, I bloody miss that environment. And he'll hopefully, whether it's mental, financial, whatever it is, enjoy himself next year. It'll be great to see him playing again. Sort of on the same realm, in a different sport, soccer. The Soccer World Cup starts in about a week's time. Graham Arnold comes out and announces the squad. There's some surprises, a goalkeeper that he left out, some West Australians that he left out. Overall, there was some shocks in the selection. Have you, in your time, given that's the national level soccer and you've played national level cricket, have you had selection dramas or selection stories that,
getting selected myself first, that was a shock. But I remember getting picked, and this was back in 1996, I think it was.
Boy.
And no, it could have been when I came back. I'm not quite sure of the. It was when I got picked 7 years later.
Yes.
I'm actually working at John 23rd School on the ground. So basically, I'll go back to the farm, help out when I had a couple of months off from training, help put the crop in with Dad. But most of the time I was up here working at John 23rd at this time, and I'm on the tractor mowing the lawns of the big oval out the back there, and all this camera crews coming. There's Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10.
Out to you on the tractor.
Out on the tractor, and there I am, and I turn, and I thought, all right, they must be talking about the old Reds when they used to be here. So something must have happened with the Reds. I'll go back up and do another loop, and they're setting up, and the head groundsman comes out and stop, right? They need to talk to you. What do they want to talk to me about? Cricket's not on. We're in the middle of winter. Yeah. And anyway, Hoggy, you've been selected to go over to play whatever the next tour was. Okay.
And you didn't know?
Well, I had no idea.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so that was one selection issue.
What, did they not have mobile phones back in the... This must have
Mate,
been...
I didn't have mobile phones. So so we went away on that tour.
It was like an Asian tour, like India?
No, actually, no, it was 1996. It was 96, yeah. It was back in 1996.
And
Sorry about that.
You found out via
that.
A media scrum out into the middle of John 23rd Oval.
Yeah, but the thing is, mobile phones, I didn't get one till 2003. We were sponsored by 3. Well, Cricket Australia was sponsored by 3. We were up in Darwin. Yes. And they give you 2 mobile phones, one for your wife and one for you. And I thought, all right, this is great. Yeah, right. I didn't want one because I was just very happy.
You were off the grid.
Yeah, I was off the grid. Don't worry about that. The old payphone. That's the old payphone. If you don't know, you just put the coins in and bang, 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 bang. Hi, honey, I've only got $2, so it's going to be short and sharp. But the other thing is too, when you're on that, you could go when things weren't going right on the phone call, and you're having that little discussion out home. Bit of a bad connection, and just turn it off. So with the mobile phones, clear reception, and I had it for about a week, and you walk around and it just ring, and you're walking down the shopping centre or doing something like that. I rang up through. I said, "Can I send these back? It's annoying me. I've got this thing buzzing in my pocket. Normally, I like a little bit of buzzing in my pocket, but this thing's just annoying me because people just keep ringing me. I just like that."
Mr. Hogg, that's how mobile phones work. It's for people contacting each other, and you said, "No, thank you, I don't want it."
No, but going back to another selection issue, 2003 World Cup, Ryan Campbell probably should have got picked there as the second keeper.
Coach of the Netherlands cricket team right now.
Yeah, he's done a wonderful job. But they went with Jimmy Marr as the backup keeper. Now, Jimmy is a humorous guy, and I was a bit sceptical about the decision of bringing Jimmy Marr as a second keeper. I thought that was a bit silly. But we got on the plane out Sydney, going to South Africa, and we sat down. He had the whole front of the plane in laughters. And I just thought that's why he's on, because he's not going to play. He's there to lift the spirits when things aren't going right. So when you go to that soccer environment, when you're picking a national team, it's not so much picking the best players. It's picking the players that are going to gel together and work together because you've got more chance of winning. You would know that with the Eagles.
Yep,
all the cricket teams I've been with, it's not so much having the best players that are around, it's having the best players. It's having the players that gel as a team and are there to sort of lift the spirits of his mate next door. It's not about having players that are leading from the front or pushing you from behind. It's about all working together side by side.
And sometimes that can lead to results. Am I remembering correctly? Didn't Steve Smith start as like a specialist fielder, or wasn't he like a culture guy?
Oh, no, he's a leggy.
Yeah, but they had him in the team batting at seven, and now he's one of the greatest batsmen of all time in world cricket. But he started as a
leg spinner. I remember going up to the Centre of Excellence as a spin consultant coach. And I'm walking up
director
there, and I said, sort of walking out there for the first time, I said, "Is this Steve Smith up here from New South Wales?" Yeah, that's him out there bowling. No, that's not Steve Smith. The Steve Smith, the leg spinner from New South Wales. No, that's him out there. I said, who's been working with him? He's got a completely different action. So someone's been trying to straighten him up, get his right arm here, his feet around there, just completely stuffed him up, because when I first saw him on the scene, I actually faced him early on. He was the bee's knees.
Really?
But then you get overcoached and it all goes.
Wow, yeah. That's bloody interesting.
Yeah, but going back to 96, that's how much I know about my career. Just getting selected. It was 2003 to 96.
Well, we'll see how the Aussies go in the soccer, because we're going to be following that pretty closely here on the Shelter Sportscast. We're just working with a couple of maybe soccer, some Bradley Hogg soccer type areas. We're speaking to a couple of people that'll be joining us here on the show as well during that Soccer World Cup, which will be fantastic. Now, Hoggy, let's get into it. You are the man of cricket. Let's talk about the two semi-finals that happened over the last couple of days. Pakistan defeat New Zealand in what must be said is an upset. It's an upset, right?
Oh, it's a huge upset. I always thought Pakistan were going to get through to the semi-finals.
You've been pretty high on Pakistan most times we've spoken.
Yeah, they're so inconsistent.
Yeah.
They're consistently inconsistent. But you sit there and look at that game, and New Zealand are a team that want to bowl full and try and get the ball to swing. And if you look at Pakistan, their batting lineup, if you bowl that test match length on top of off, they really struggle. And what I really liked about this contest was that Babar Azam Rizwan were out of touch, but they were prepared just to sort of sneak out of the crease a bit and take on that good length and put the pressure back on the New Zealand bowlers. Once they got a couple away, all of a sudden the new bowlers in New Zealand started to panic. And yes, there was a drop catch there by the part-time keeper in Conway behind the stumps, which probably cost them. It was a tough chance, but I think a regulation keeper, a main keeper would have probably taken that. But all of a sudden, Babar Azam's on top, or had that little bit of luck that he needs to get back in touch. But the ball that I thought was the defining moment was when Ferguson came on, quick bowler, and he was just over pitched, and that ball went for 4 straight down the ground. I can't picture whether it was Babar Azam or Rizwan, but he's been hit for 4 straight down the ground. For me, that was the defining moment.
New Zealand didn't make enough runs though, did they? Initially, they bat first and make 150.
I thought that was enough runs, because what they had to do, if they bowled well in that power play, then the spinners could control the game in the next 4 overs. Right. So if you look at the difference between the two games with the two teams was the 2 Pakistan openers taking on the risk, but the last 2 overs of the power play, Pakistan had a lot more success. Southee went for 15, then Ferguson went for, I think, 10. But on the last ball of New Zealand's batting innings, Pakistan got the run out. And then all of a sudden, the next 4 overs were the bee's knees. I think Pakistan went for 23 when they were bowling to New Zealand. The spinners controlled it, whereas the Pakistan didn't lose any wickets. They were able to take on those spinners in those 4 overs and really take the game away.
For Pakistan, is there? You've said they're inconsistent. Is there strength? Their bowling, is their strength their batting? Like what is their one-wood? What is their what's going to win them this world? They're in a World Cup final.
Yeah, their bowling's definitely their strength.
Yeah.
But the good thing about Pakistan is Rizwan and Babar Azam out the front end have struggled.
Yeah, they went pretty cheaply in this game too, didn't they?
Yeah, so they've made 50% of the runs over the last 2 years.
Right.
The middle order, they've been so inconsistent. They haven't been able to find a steady structure in that middle order. They haven't been able to have consistent players. It's been a lot of chop and change. But Iftikhar and Masood coming in, they've really stabilised it, and they kept Pakistan in the competition early on. And then they brought Harris in out the back end. Harris has been a great influx in this lineup because batting out threes, he took the game away the other day, and he played an important role the other night as well. So for me, I think they're just getting their batting right out the right time. The bowlers have hung in there. I think they're going to be trouble for England.
I absolutely butchered that. Rizwan was 57 from 43 and Azam was 53 from 42. So I said
you butchered it.
Oh, well, I said they went out cheaply. It's the complete opposite of that.
Oh, no, they went out cheaply. You're thinking about the rest of the tournament.
Very good.
They were cheap wickets early on. If you wanted to be an opening bowler, Babar Azam, Rizwan out the other end early on, you'll be licking your lips.
So Pakistan reached this in the last over, didn't they? So it was tight, but it felt like they had it under control for most.
Oh, they had it under control. Yeah. When you're needing less than when you're needing less than 7 and over out the 10 over mark, you're well in control.
Absolutely.
It's more trying to, and we'll talk about this with India and England.
Now let's get into this right now. England defeat India last night by 10 wickets, if you don't bloody mind. And it was off the back of I didn't think too bad a total. They made 168, India. They were pretty slow to get going, India, in that first innings, and they it is the way they play. They're pretty conservative, and then they went whack with about 5 overs to go. And it looked like, close to 170. That would probably win you more games than it loses along the way, wouldn't it? 170?
Yeah, it definitely will. And if you look at the whole matchups before the game starts, no Wood. Wood against Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav in that middle overs, trying to bowl with the spin there. That was a matchup that England missed because pace, trying to take it onto the short boundaries is still very difficult. He's bowling 150 plus, trying to pull that all the time. Very difficult. So they missed him. And Milan coming in out number 3. I thought, right, India should be able to win this easily because if you look at Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he's got it all over Butler. He's got him out 5 times. Butler's probably averaged about 10, 11 against him over that history. So here we go again. Butler, Bhuvneshwar Kumar in that first over with England chasing. He takes it on, gets 3 boundaries. All of a sudden, Rohit Sharma's starting to panic with the bowling. Well,
because Butler's the boundaries that he hit in that first over, they were a bit diced. Like, there wasn't like straight out of the middle back just cracking them. A couple of like sort of edges through the slips and stuff. But as a batsman, even though it doesn't matter how it gets there, it's like a forward in footy, right? Like kick a goal, it doesn't matter how they get through the big sticks. It just gets their confidence up and about. And it looks like that would happen. Same thing happened to Butler, right?
Yeah. Oh, exactly right.
Once he got off to that start, he was fine.
So if that went the other way and he got Butler early, all of a sudden Milan's not there at 3 that controls that early wicket scenario where he can just sort of be a little bit more conservative and then make the runs up as he goes. If India got that early wicket, all of a sudden that middle order's exposed to a new ball.
But they don't, and it was it's got to be said, it was incredible batting. Alex Hales was 86 off 47 in the end. Josh Buttler was 80 off 49. So it was the biggest ever partnership by England in a World Cup. It probably go close to one of the biggest opening partnerships ever. They just absolutely smacked them from pillar to post. It didn't look like they were going to get out, and they didn't. Like they win by 10 runs, 10 wickets.
Oh, they win by 10 wickets. They win easily. But if you also look in the power play phase, I think India had a couple of more dot balls, but it was the boundaries. England had 3 more fours, 3 more sixes in that power play. That's an extra 30 runs. And India was 60 at the 10 over mark. England were 100. But you're going out 6 and over at the 10 over mark, you're in trouble. So Virat Kohli normally goes, so when you put a strike rate of 140, so on bowling terms, that's an economy rate of 8. So England, going into this game, you know that they go at 8.84 and over. So India batting first, think, right, we've got to nail that. We've got to get out 9 runs and over or more. So we've got to take a few risks early on. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli didn't take those risks early on.
Yep.
They weren't prepared to take on that bowling. And it's simply because they don't have a deep enough batting lineup. Right. They don't have Jadeja down there, and that's why Jadeja is very important. Kohli going out 120 strike rate for batting the majority of the innings, I think at the end of the day, that may have affected India not getting posting a big total. And Rohit Sharma as well, the captain.
It was a plan. It was a plan, and it looked like they executed what they wanted to do. But then Rohit came out. Wasn't he spraying the bowlers?
He was spraying the bowlers, and Rohit went out. I think just around 100 strike rate of 100. Now, the bowlers, if you look at the stats, they bowl better lines, and they actually bowl better than England. But England were prepared to take the risks, knowing that they're going to hit those good lengths, and didn't play to the short boundaries either. They were still prepared to hit straight, whereas the English bowlers were a little bit wayward. And if you look at all the boundaries for India, it was off wide deliveries. All the boundaries for England were off good, straight, good length deliveries straight out the stumps. So Rohit Sharma has been blaming the bowlers in this particular instance when he should have been blaming his top order.
You happy with that from the captain of the national side coming out and... Because I remember asking you a couple of weeks ago about, what happens as a bowler if your wicketkeeper drops or misses a stumping or whatever, and you say, well, it's just how cricket goes. It's all in. One in, all in. If the captain's coming out publicly spraying the bowling lineup.
Yeah, I just don't think you do that because at the end of the day, they were missing Boomerang. But Arsdeep and Bhuvneshwar Kumar stood up, and I thought they absolutely bowled sensationally. And at the end of the day, it's just those small moments in a game of football, game of cricket, where you've got to take a little risk. And everything in life, it's luck and risk. Everyone thinks, Australia was so good through a period. But we had a lot of luck there when we were taking on risk. Things could have gone the other way. And people, if it went the other way, people were going, that's pathetic that he played that shot or he had that field to that particular person. But when it comes off, you just go, I've planned it well. And, you don't talk about the luck.
Yeah, correct.
But you talk about the bad luck that you have when it doesn't come off.
Correct.
And I think sometimes for me, when I'm analysing a game, I've got to look at that a lot more too.
Well, talking about analysing games, Hoggy, the World Cup final is here. Pakistan v England, Sunday at the MCG. Let's go through who you think's going to win this one.
Who do you think will win?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know why, but they kept flashing to the crowd and they kept showing the Poms in the crowd. They just piss me off. They go in and then you got the Pommies and they're carrying on up they're like a worse version. I think they're a worse version of Australian fans. They kept flashing to the Indian fans, and the Indian fans looked like they were just so happy to be there. They were having the best time. England were teeing off, and they were like celebrating the English stuff just because they just love cricket. Whereas the English, it was a bit more, we're the best. It's like Australian fans, but obviously
I think you're a bit harsh.
Nah, piss off England. I'm going for Pakistan. I'm going for Pakistan because I think it'll be a bit of an upset. I like going for the underdog, and it'll just be great to see. I looked up a little stat. You're usually the man with the stats, Hoggy, but no. What are you moving around? Just hold up, please. Thank you very much.
Dan, you're doing a good job there. Put him off.
Now, I don't know where it's gone.
That's why you weren't forward, mate, because you can get put off pretty early.
It's not on my run sheet, but I do remember it. 1992, the World Cup. It was the first World Cup in colours, in terms of the teams wearing the colours. It was Pakistan, England, and Pakistan got the win after a bit of controversy in the semi-finals. Now, I'm telling you, there was a bit of controversy because this was before the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern system was in, and they had the rain delay rule. South Africa in the semi-final needed to make 23 off 11 balls, so they were probably in the box seat. After this rain delay, they rescheduled everything. They came back out for one ball, and they needed to make, after the rain delay system, 22 off the last ball, and they came out and played the last ball. They had to make 22 and game over. South Africa, see you later. Pakistan go through and they win the World Cup. So I'm predicting the same thing will happen. No Duckworth-Lewis-Stern stuff, but I just think Pakistan might win this one. Who do you think?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I just think you've got the momentum going in Pakistan's favour. I think they've just got a new lease of life after having, what can you say? What do you call that when you get that off chance where someone does you a favour?
I've been having some troubles with spitting words out of my brain over the last couple of weeks, Dan. You and I matched up here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish.
Anyway, someone can send that on Twitter. But luck of the Irish. We'll call it luck of the Irish. And I just think their bowling's on song. When you're playing at the MC, the only thing is you're playing at the MCG, Butler with his ramp shots to Ralph. That will be the key matchup because you've got short boundaries there. Butler did it great here in Perth against the pace of Australia. Not as quick as Ralph, but Butler taking that on, that will be the key matchup for me.
So I miss who you think is going to win. Who's going to win?
It's. I think out the MCG it favours England a lot more because they don't have the pace without Wood there. But that change up of pace, Pakistan hitting the long boundaries, I think England are quicker between the wickets. A lot of twos over there in out the MCG. I just think England's fitness will get over Pakistan.
So England's going to win.
I think England is going to win.
I'm trying to get into
the Barmy Army.
Yes,
it's you look at the England fans up there, and you just said that they look like they are arrogant on the TV screens. They're not arrogant. They provide so much energy with their singing and just their humour. They bring so much to the game, the Barmy Army. But then you look at the Indian fans, they just bring so much energy as well. And the reason why the Indian fans are so happy there is because they're actually closer to their heroes than what they would be in India. Yeah. Remember,
what do they do in India?
Well, the boundaries are a bit further away from the fence, and plus they've got a wire mesh fence. 7-foot wire mesh fence.
Is that to stop people from getting on the oval?
Yeah, So they'll be sitting there. There's no wire mesh fence. We can actually see our team out there. So and close, and we can nearly touch them.
What's it like when you're fielding down at fine leg or close to the boundary in India with the wire? Is it like caged animals, like ready to just smash it down? They're just that excited. They just absolutely love it.
Oh, they love it. They've always got a smile on your face.
Yeah.
And it's like anything. It's how you treat them as a player. If you turn around smiling.
They love it.
They love it. And you just try and have banter. You're there for the entertainment. It's a bit like who's Pickett, isn't it? The Richmond player that played in the AFL Grand Final. Yeah. So I saw him lining up for goal, and he was on the fence, and the fans, opposition fans, having a crack at him, and he's going, having a bit of a laugh, kicks the goal, and then they have a bit of banter afterwards. That's what it's all about. Entertainment, where you're engaged with the crowd in that particular moment, and the crowd's giving you a little bit of flack, not too much flack where it's over the top, but it's fun, and you're having a bit of fun with him. You kick the goal, and you turn around and have a banter. If he's missed it just by a small margin, he still looks around, oh, Nelly had you there type thing. But it's the banter that you have with the crowd because they actually come and watch you. And if you don't have them, you don't have a sport.
Shea Bolton was who we're talking about. I remember that incident,
Yeah,
and I blew up about it. I wasn't happy with Shea Bolton, but you would have been doing the same thing, giving the tongue, giving a little bit of
but that's my personality because it's taken my mind off what I actually have to do, overthinking it.
Yes.
So you're sitting there, all right, having a bit of banter, having a laugh. And all of a sudden, you just kick it without overthinking it.
Hoggy, we're going to finish off with this one. You've picked England. I picked Pakistan. Hopefully, it's a great game. We've got an email that's come into the show, Hoggy. I'm going to read it to you. I can't really remember what this said, so we're just going to go for this off the bat. Hey, Scully, Hoggy, and all. This one is for you, Hoggy. All right, perfect. Yeah. We've got the man in here. As soon as I heard you on the Shelter Cast, I thought this was my opportunity to confirm a story I was told by my wife back in 2015. Sorry, I know it was a while ago. Not as long as the 1996 selection story, but 2015. When my wife was travelling back from South America, she had to do a transfer at Sydney to come back through Perth. As she boarded, she suddenly noticed there was a sea of orange on the plane. She was on a plane with the Scorchers, who had just won the game at the SCG. She knew they had won because she's an absolute nuffy for all things cricket and had been following updates while she was in transit. Anyway, as she was getting over her shock, she noticed that she still had a spare seat beside her, and there were more players piling onto the plane. In complete horror, she then noticed her natural odour was anything but pleasant. Skirming with embarrassment. Yeah, she must have locked eyes with either yourself, Hoggy, or Mitchy Marsh, and shook her head side to side, hoping you were not sitting beside her. In that moment, you or Mitch Marsh said, "Don't you want us to sit next to you?" In complete embarrassment, and I know my wife would have gone bright red. She replied, "It's not that. It's that I stink from being on planes all day." Taking this on board, you or Mitch Marsh then leant over, smelled her shoulder and said, "Wow, you really do smell." After some chuckles, all of you took a photo with her in the galley of the plane. To this day, that photo is one of her most prized possessions, reminding her it was her best and worst moment of her life. If this is true, you are an absolute lad. Cheers, boys, Shane. And there's the photo right there, Hoggy. I can see you, Hoggy, on the left. Mitch Marsh blowing a kiss to the camera, and Shane's lovely wife in the middle. Can you remember that story from 2015? And was it you who smelt said odour?
I remember that story.
Do you?
Yes, I remember that story. And, yeah. But it's so funny. I remember it slightly different. And I'm putting my bag up.
Yeah.
I said, oh, right. Seat there. Oh, yeah, rightio. Said, no, I'm sitting here. She goes, oh, thank God for that. And all the boys go, not everyone likes Hoggy. But I reckon, yeah, I think it was Mitch that smelt. But that was so much fun. We've got the names of everyone there. We've got the names of the lady, haven't we?
Yeah, I think, does it say the lady's name? It's definitely Shane.
Yeah, Shane. No, this is true because she's the lady in question here has been travelling for a long period of time.
Yes.
And yeah, when you're travelling, sometimes
it's
no good. No good. It's one of those things. No, there was no odour there or anything like that, but it was just great banter, and it's just fantastic that those little moments when you're travelling, they just make a laugh for a story when you're sitting around the bonfire and catching up on old times. It's not so much the stories on the field, it's the stories like that off the field that you remember and you have a laugh, and it just brings everyone together.
Send in your Brad Hogg moments, FootyCast at shelterbrewing.com.au. I want to hear some more of these Bradley Hogg little run-ins around off the cricket field. We're going to go. I'm going to take my kid to swimming lesson, Hoggy, so we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, we've got to wrap this up, but Shane is a very lucky man because that lady is a whole lot of fun, and there'll be a lot of laughs in that household.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Follow
well
us,
done, Shane.
Follow us on socials, Shelter FootyCast over on Instagram. You can watch us on YouTube. Listen to us at podcast. Make sure you get down to Shelter down in Busselton. They're born and brewed down there. And Hoggy, we'll see you Monday after the grand final in the World Cup.
Mate, it's so good to catch up with you again.
Good work, mate.
It's better in the studio than when I'm out my home on studio.
I bloody agree. We'll see you Monday.
Yeah, thanks, mate.